Parents of children in school emergencies, like active shooter situations, the moment of not knowing if their child is safe is agonizing. In these moments, reunification is critical. It allows parents to know their children are safe and bring them home. Today, parents in Lodi High School simulated a standard reunification process so they're prepared if an emergency does happen.
I think for parents to know from events like this is that school officials and law enforcement at the local level and our Office of School Safety at the state level are working collaboratively to prepare so that if there is an incident that takes place, folks are as well trained and as well prepared as they can be, and that there's a plan in place to get information to parents as quickly as possible.
Call also believes being prepared is critical to limiting the tragedy and trauma of school-related disasters.